is Marcela Alonso, and welcome to my YouTube. Thank you so much for being here again, and I'm so glad that you have joined me. If you like what I am sharing, please hit subscribe and notifications. Right now I have a subject that I want to go over, and it's 5 things you need to know before you move to New York City. I have been back in New York City since 2009, January of 2019. So I was originally born in the Bronx, but I was not raised in New York whatsoever. I've had a lot of family here. Like I said in previous videos, you can watch. I did live in Los Angeles. I am an actress here. I am a member of SAG as well, and I've done some other occupations too as well, you can see. But I wanted to go ahead and share 5 things you need to know before you move to New York City. Now, before I begin, I want to say this is for educational and entertainment purpose. Sorry about the sound. They're working right outside. I live in Brooklyn, so they're always doing construction around me. But these are everything I'm sharing in my videos. It comes from my personal experience of who I am. And, you know, it might not apply for you, but if you're coming here and you just want an honest opinion and honest advice, or to be pre-warned, that's why I'm making these YouTube videos. I enjoy making YouTube a lot. I like it that it's not scripted. I do write down notes, but I share my honest opinions. And again, it's for entertainment and entertainment. If you don't agree, I get it. You know, you might have had a different experience or whatever, but this is just like my recommendations and from my personal experience. And you know, sometimes you just want to do research. You might want to watch a couple YouTube videos and see out and get different opinions before you make the decision. So to begin, the 5 things, number 1 on my list is don't expect to drive or to bring a car. Okay, that is very important. The one thing about New York, a lot of people, myself included, since I've been here, I don't drive. I have a driver's license. I don't use it. It's pointless to me to drive. If it's nighttime, I go ahead and take a Uber, you know, but there's no need. It's just too much of a headache with parking and everything else. Now, some people that have been raised here, they might live in Jersey, or they might live in Queens, or they might live in, you know, the Bronx, and they choose to drive, and that's okay. That's them. But if you're planning to move here, get ready to not have a car whatsoever. I personally, it's very, very stressful. The traffic here, it's not like, I feel like LA traffic for me is better because it's straight going and you might get stuck in a jam, but this is stop and go traffic. And then on top of it, you're dealing with the parking. So it's actually cheaper in a way taking the MTA for me. I feel like I save so much money not having a car here. I love it. I do own a car. I actually own a couple cars, and they're sitting in Florida in my rental property. But I do not, I don't recommend driving here, especially if you're coming here new, if you're a creative person, you know, like myself, you know, yeah, it's just, don't even expect to bring your car. Like, it's kind of, nuts though. When you're going to be in the city and everything, it's just a headache, and it's too expensive too. It's, unless you got that kind of money and you've got like, you're getting a place with a for sure parking spot, be up for the parking tickets. You will get them. You will get them. Number 2 is if you're moving here, and this is a lesson I learned because when I first came back in 2019 and I lived in Manhattan, I say be open to living in the Queens area or in Brooklyn, opposed to living in the city. Okay. I lived in the city first, and I lived up in the city till May of 2020. And then now I'm in my Brooklyn apartment. You can also see my Brooklyn apartment in my previous videos. So if you want to take a look at that, but, I'll be real with you. I really wish I wanted to go into Queens, and there's a lot of area in Queens, especially Sunnyside. I think Astoria is great. I think Astoria is like, not too many people. To me, it's affordable in Astoria. There are a lot of bars and clubs, but Queens, I say Sunnyside, Woodside, that's a good spot because you take the 7, you're in the city super quick. and it's practical. I live in Brooklyn now, and there's a lot of different areas to live in Brooklyn. You do need to investigate. I'll probably do another video about that. If anybody wants to know, just head in the comments and ask, and I'll go ahead and make it. I really like making these YouTube videos. But I would say be open to living in Queens or Brooklyn opposed to the city. When I was in the city, it was just a pain, especially during COVID. It was crazy. Groceries are way more expensive. Now, everything is close by if you are in the city. But the downsides is you're getting a smaller apartment, a very small space. I felt blessed of having 700 square feet in the city. That is large. But, not all apartments were that big. It's 700 square feet for one bedroom. Now I'm in a big, beautiful apartment. Again, you can see that video on YouTube. But, yeah, if I would have known better, but I had to first know back the area and, and everything. But be open to go maybe Queens. I just think it's a great, nobody talks about it enough, and it's so convenient to the city. There's different parts of Queens, but remember, like, there's Long Island City, that is part of Queens, but the only thing about Long Island City, it is getting expensive, but Sunnyside is nice. A friend of mine lives over there, and Woodside is nice. Even sometimes Regal Park, to me, isn't that bad, and it's affordable. So, it's cool if you can live in the city or whatever, but you're also losing a lot of space. So, the thing about the areas in New York, you have to ask yourself, hey, do I want more space? Do I want to be right in the heart of the city? What is it that I really want? And living in the city can be costly because of just to dry your clothes, to do a lot of things can be more expensive overall. And, you're going to be paying this high price to be in a shoebox, literally in Manhattan, unless you get like an incredible deal. And that's not going. And then after, I can say right now, like, it is 2022. Queens and Brooklyn are still not crazy priced like the city is. The city is just ridiculous. And I find, and I could be wrong, and this is just from me talking to a lot of people I know, it seems like in the city, the landlords are way more greedy, and they're trying, they're writing for it. So that is number 2. Number 3, this is very vital if you're coming to live to New York, visiting or whatever. Get your wardrobe ready, and that includes the umbrella. So when you are coming from wherever you're from, every day the weather is so different in New York. Right now it's fall, and 1 minute it was 80 degrees, and then it's like 60 degrees. So it was like, there's like no middle. So you do have to constantly, every day, look at the weather, but you need to get your wardrobe ready. What I learned right away too is getting the right shoes. You do have to spend some money and get some quality shoes. You don't have to go crazy. When I say with wardrobe, I think Timberlands are great for wintertime and for the rain. I think that's like why it's the New York staple of the shoe. But even during the summertime, you need a good pair of tennis shoes. You need, a good pair of quality heels if you're going to go out. All these things you need to factor. So your wardrobe really has to, that's where you need to spend the money. You know what I'm saying? You got to save the money somewhere else, like on rent and groceries. But then your wardrobe, you can't have, you need a good quality winter jacket. You need a good quality windbreaker. You need a good quality shoe. You need, because you're in the street so much, your shoes do get damaged and all that. And I do recommend, getting something of quality. You can't go cheap. And it was just like, for instance, I'm going to share with you. I went to Ross and I bought a simple, sort of like a rain boot type of shoe or whatever. It was only $20 or something. I thought I got a deal. And one day it's storming and I had my umbrella. The shoe came off. So, and I was like, never again. And that's when I realized it's the reason the Timberlands they remain, everybody wears them out here because of the way they go through with the weather and all that and the changes. So that is something important. You're going to have to really upgrade, and you'll notice a difference when you live here. Me, after 10 years of LA, I noticed like in LA, I could dress kind of cheap. I didn't have to spend money. You could look good, but you didn't have to buy like top and line shoes or anything so much, only to impress somebody. Here, you need quality. You need to read the reviews for your wardrobe. You need to investigate beforehand. So let me go to number 4 on my list of 5 things you need to know before you move to New York City. Number 5 is you need to learn the subway and some of the important bus lines where might be around you. This is vital. This is important. We all have cell phones, and, you do need to know the basic lines. For instance, I know everywhere coming out of Atlantic in Barclay, which that's the big hub in Brooklyn. I know the Q goes right down to the Midtown if I can go there or not. The 4 if I want to go to the Upper East Side. So right off my head, I know pretty much all the subways. And that's what you really want to do. You want to get a map. You want to study the subways. The MTA does have an app. You could download it and you could just play around with it and everything and investigate. But you really do want to learn public transportation the best that you can while you're here. And, it's unrealistic. I don't care. It's very unrealistic if you're going to rely on Ubers. It's just unrealistic. And then taking the Ubers, that's a whole different ballgame. I personally only take Ubers at night. I'm a woman, and so I feel like it's just important for security. And then during the day, I pretty much do everything during the day. I take the subway. I know my bus lines. And when I'm in the city, I don't care. I take it. I take the public transportation, and you will have to just get to know it, get used to it, and know what train is what and where it goes, and if it's a local, you know what I mean, or if it doesn't, what time does it on the weekends, for instance. I know the 7 coming out of Queens, sometimes that doesn't go so often. So be aware of the MTA, and they do have an app, the MTA of New York City, and you want to just get to know it. So number 5 is something really, really important. I think it's important. For me, it didn't bother me, but I have already noticed some people that have come from like middle America. And again, I am in the creative field. So I'm going to say this. Number 5 is get used to diversity. You are no longer in Kansas anymore. Okay. When you come to New York, New York is a very liberal state. So it's a democratic state. It always has been. Politics is a thing, but I noticed in LA, it was different. When I lived in LA, people would go wherever, and there was no issue about diversity. People were kind of disrespectful in LA, I'll be honest. I felt like they were disrespectful. But in New York, you have to get used to diversity. You're going to live around all kinds of people. There'll be different areas of New York, or they're going to have different types of people. For instance, at Greenpoint, I think there's a Polish population. I know there's parts of Brooklyn that have a Caribbean population. There's also a Hasidic area in Brooklyn. Also, let me think about Manhattan. I have to think. I feel like Manhattan can be diverse because the building that I did live in had a lot of diversity. So some of these nice high-end apartments, and I'm going to tell you, they do set aside sometimes apartments for lower income. Like the building that I lived in that I paid market price. I had not one, but 2 different neighbors on my floor, and they had a lower income apartment, which I didn't mind. Hey, that, they were older people. They were very respectful. They were actually, during the pandemic, they were only the ones that didn't leave. I ended up leaving because my lease was up and they were being impossible. But, be prepared when you go to New York. You're not in Kansas no more. You're not in, if you're a creative person, like you're an actor, and let's say you're coming here for acting or, you know, dancing or something like that. Be prepared for the diversity. And you're going to be faced with it. And it's not like LA. I feel like in LA, anybody can move to LA and not really be bothered because LA is just so spread out. But here, like, everybody is up on top of each other. So you want to be just mindful. Like, one thing my father always taught me: when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So you want to be respectful of other people's cultures. You want to be respectful of, you know, there's different parades. There's the Puerto Rican parade, there's the Dominican parade, there's the Irish parade, there's the Pride Fest parade. I can go on and on. A lot of the Jewish holidays, you want to be respectful of the people in the synagogues, you know, and number 5 is be respectful and to the diversity in New York City. Hey, you're coming here. Nobody needs to change for you. You know what I'm saying? Like my father always said, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And I just think that's something people need to understand. In New York, it is the melting pot. Queens is the most diverse borough ever. And they have so many different nationalities, so many different cultures. So just please be respectful. You know, I've seen people come here and be rude, mostly tourists that are here for a day or two or whatever. And you just want to be respectful of other people's cultures and respectful where you're coming to. If you're coming for vacation, if you're coming to live, if you have a dream. But I feel like that's something really important. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this YouTube. If you have any questions or have any ideas for me, please share. I love making YouTubes. Hit me up down in the comments. Don't forget to follow my IG, which is Marcela Sobella, my TikTok, which is Marcela Sobella, and I even have a Facebook. It's Marcela Sobella. So I greatly appreciate if you do. And if you like this button, please give it a thumbs up, a like, and I hope you have a wonderful day.